Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Waste Talk series. I'm your host, Vartika, and today we have a very fascinating topic that is straw bale gardening. By the end of this episode, you will know what is straw bale gardening and how you can successfully grow plant in your own garden using this method. And to share this knowledge with me, I have Tony. Tony has been gardening in straw bales for a number of years. Beyond being an avid gardener, Tony is also an educator, dedicated educator, and a community leader. Tony has been a master composter recycler since 2019 and has been on a mission to share his knowledge about organic benefits of organic living ever since. Welcome, Tony. How are you doing today? Welcome to my channel.
Thank you. Thanks, Vartika. Thanks for having me. And I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn all about strawberry gardening from you because I know you have been doing this for a number of years and I have seen some of your pictures earlier as well. So let's start with the first question. What is strawberry gardening? And how did you jump into this? How did you start?
Okay, perfect. So maybe I'll just start with how did I start, and then I can go into what is straw bale gardening actually. So around the pandemic, 2020 summer, I was at home just having nothing to do. I was like, okay, what should I do something different? Let me start something unique. And I remembered around 2019 when I was going through the Master Composter Recycling, we had a speaker who had come and shared about straw bale gardening. And at that time, I was like curious, but I didn't dive into it. So when 2020 summer came in during COVID, I decided to start with one straw bale. And with that experiment, I realized that, oh, this is something simple, which is easy to do. It doesn't require soil, it doesn't require big planters. So why don't I try it? So that's how my journey in straw bale gardening started. Now let me quickly show you what is a straw bale. For many of the listeners, they may not be sure about what is straw bale and how does it look like. So this is a straw bale. So essentially, this is a material you get. This the uh, remnants of wheat or barley after the crop is harvested, which is bundled into bales, and these bales are used for various purposes. But one of the purpose in urban setting is for toboggling hills to serve as a protection for people who are toboggling. So this straw bale is then mixed with bone meal, or this is essentially nitrogen, and then you mix water, pour water into the straw bale, and it does the conditioning. And the conditioned bales look something like this, where it is a combination of nitrogen which starts decomposing the straw and the bale inside, and then you put a layer of soil on top of it, and it's ready for you to grow and use for gardening. So this is straw bale gardening.
So, first of all, you have been lucky to have that presenter that you learned about strawberry gardening by accident and then you started ever since. That's wonderful. Okay, so thanks for showing us these pictures. So, how do you really, on top of it, do you have some compost soil or you were showing some bone meal? How do you condition it?
Sure, that's a good question. So when you have this bale, a couple of things you have to make sure you are aligning the bale in such a way that the cut edges of the bale is facing upwards, or it is facing towards the sky. What we do next is the bone meal. Bone meal is essentially nitrogen. So you put nitrogen on top of these bales,
So,
and then
for whole area, right? Not just the center where we are planting, for the
uh,
whole area.
yeah, on top, like the top
Okay.
surface, just put nitrogen on the top surface here, the bone meal here, and then you are pouring water on top of it. What water does is it starts decomposing the straw and converts it into a highly enriched compost material.
Okay.
So this conditioning has to be done for 14 days consecutively, because you first put the bale. On top of the bale, you will be putting the nitrogen or the bone meal, water it for the day one, again put some on the second day, water it. So this process continues for roughly about 12 to 14 days. And
Okay.
at the end of 14 days, the straw starts decomposing, and that creates natural fertilizer. However, when you are planting your vegetables or fruits, you need to make sure that there is a layer of compost or layer of soil on top of it, so that the roots can get the nutrients immediately from the soil.
Okay.
Once the roots start going deep, then the bale automatically feeds it. It continuously gives it the nutrition it needs. So, very thin layer of soil.
Very thin layer of soil, not compost. Can we use 100% compost there?
No, I would suggest using soil, because the bale itself is the compost. So the
Yes.
bale would have started composting. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't need compost, but you need soil so
Soil.
that the roots of the plants can take start growing in the soil and then go deep into the compost.
Okay, so you start with the seeds or like transplant in this one? Can we directly put seeds in there?
I would suggest transplants, because
Okay.
seeds find it difficult to grow in this environment. So, better to start with transplant, as you can see in the picture. And that is what I have been doing. I have been using transplants. I've tried with seeds for carrots in the past, but it has
Okay.
not been very successful.
Okay. So yeah, we will talk about that. What crops we can grow here in strawberries or not? Because some plants only can go as seeds in the soil, right? Yeah. So, okay. So, if I want to plant in the strawberries, how early should I start? You said it's a 12 to 15 days process of conditioning. Should I start even earlier, like 1 month back, or like how should I start it?
So I would suggest starting at least 15 to 16 days in advance of when you
Mhm.
actually want to start growing in that medium. The reason being, when the decomposition happens, and as you know, when compost is created, there is heat which is generated
Mhm.
inside the medium. So then you should allow some time for the heat to be
Okay.
dissipated and for the bundle to cool down
Mhm.
before you plant. So I would suggest anything above 16 to 17 days would be
Okay.
sufficient.
Okay. So, for example, here in Edmonton, we start growing outside somewhere mid-May or third week of May, right? Uh,
Yes.
so maybe first week of May, we should start doing this process.
Yeah, or if you can get straw bales earlier than that, like say
Okay.
end of April, that's a good time to start, because it gives you enough time to condition it. So when you get your saplings or when you get
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
transplants, it's
Yeah.
ready to go. So earlier the better.
Yeah. So maybe 2 weeks to 1 month, I would say. So
Yes.
mid-April to end of April. Only if it stops snowing, right? Outside.
Or even if it snows, the moisture is really good for the conditioning. So as long
Okay.
as you can, yeah, go outside and put the bone meal regularly, the natural moisture or the rain helps. Something
Uh,
I want to also share is straw bale requires relatively larger amount of water, because it is
mhm.
exposed to the environment.
Mhm.
So the more moisture, the better it is.
Okay. Well, that's good to know because I was waiting for the snow to stop. Now, I mean, I can start early. So I will go outside and take a bag of bone meal and start, putting a layer of bone meals regularly, right? Okay. And you have been mentioning bone meal. Can we also use some other sort of NPK or some other fertilizer instead of bone meal?
Yeah, instead of bone meal, if you have any nitrogen fertilizer, like I will, some of these samples, what you can see here, like you can use any of the nitrogen based fertilizer
Mhm.
to condition it.
Okay,
But
more
bone
nitrogen.
meal has worked better. So that's why I'm talking about bone meal.
Okay. So, I have asked you earlier as well, can I also put compost? And I want to ask again because I am a big fan of home composting. So, before starting, during the starting process, you suggested we should use bone meal, not the compost, right? Because it needs a stronger nitrogen. But after the planting has started, after 1 month or 2 months, can we use this compost at that time?
Sure, you can definitely use compost. And in my experience, what I've also done is I have used or like vegetable peels or eggshells and
Mhm.
put it directly into the medium and just mix it. The reason is it organically gets composted within the straw bale itself, and then it
Okay.
also yields natural fertilization. You can also use compost, whatever you
Okay,
have
so
available.
mix it means you have access to only the top layer. So you will just
Yes,
put on the top, right? You can't do
exactly.
anything inside it, just like soil. Yeah. Mhm.
Exactly.
Okay, I have one more question about the frame actually, because straw bales can fall apart. Do we need a wooden structure surrounding it, or we can just
That,
use as is?
yeah, that's actually a good question. Let me show you some example.
Mhm.
So this is the straw bale which I have been using, and you'll be surprised to know I have been using this for the last 6 years.
Okay.
So because
You
the
want to show some
structure,
pictures, maybe first share.
so yeah, this is the structure I have created around my straw bale. So it looks like a planter, and then it
So
also.
if you are sharing, it's not coming up. Are
Oh,
you
oh,
planning
I'm
to share?
sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let me.
I
So
see
this
it.
is the this is
Okay,
my straw bale which I've been using for last 6 years,
okay.
and the benefit and the reason why I'm able to use it is I've created the wooden boxes so around my straw bales. So essentially, it is like three stacks of bales which I've put together to create a planter, and it provides a structure to your straw bale. However, if you're planning to use it only for a season, you could also use. Let me show you some examples of
Mhm,
straw bales. You can also simply put your bales like this,
mhm.
and it can grow in your garden. End of the season, by the it decomposes. You can use it as a mulch for the winter.
Yeah. So
So
top left, you are saying you have big gardens of big
yes,
beds of these strawberries. You can also
exactly.
use this way. Yeah.
And you can also use a wooden structure like this if
Mhm.
you would want, and then that can last you maybe 2 or more seasons.
Okay. So my wooden structure is maybe 10 feet, 10 inches high, like 1 feet.
Yeah.
And straw bale is a little bit higher, but that's okay to put inside that wooden frame.
Yeah, that is
It
okay
will,
because
yeah,
ultimately, after it decomposes, it kind of starts subsiding.
shrinking. Yeah.
So you
Mhm.
can use as long as you have something to provide it a sturdy structure, that should be fine.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that knowledge because earlier when you shared this picture, I thought you are planting in soil. Why are you saying that you are gardening in straw bale? Because the top is looking almost like soil.
Yes,
Decomposed
so
material, black material, right? So underneath is
exactly.
a straw bale and that's decomposing and giving nutrition on its own.
Exactly. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I also put some layer of soil so that the plants can kind of start growing in the soil, and then its roots starts going into the straw bale.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So this is a picture which from last year, which I kind of wanted to share, where I was able to grow cauliflower in
And this
and
is
cabbage.
cauliflower, or this is all
Cabbage.
cauliflower, or some of it is
No,
cabbage?
it is cabbage. So I've grown
Yeah.
both cauliflower and cabbage. So this is the cabbage section.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. Okay, so we will further go into the discussion. I will ask you, other than cabbage and cauliflower, what all do you grow? How do you water your strawberries? But before that, let's go into a rapid fire round. Are you ready for that?
Sure. Sure, I am.
Okay, so you will have only 5 seconds for each question. And yeah, let's start.
Okay.
Some of these you have already answered, but let's see. Conditioning with organic fertilizer or high nitrogen fertilizer?
Nitrogen fertilizer.
Mhm. Morning watering or evening watering?
Both times.
Both also.
Yes,
Seeds
it
or
requires
transplant?
more water.
Yeah, okay. Seeds or transplants?
Air transplants.
Mhm. What is the one tool you can't live without in a strawberry garden?
I think my watering can.
Okay, I will ask you more questions on that. What is the weirdest thing you have ever successfully grown in a bale?
I grew a 5 feet sunflower inside the bale.
Wow, even the flowers in the strawberries. That's
Yes.
awesome. Best crop for a beginner, tomatoes or zucchini?
Um, Actually, zucchini, because it gives you that space to grow
Mhm.
zucchini, it flows down.
Awesome. So yeah, I will try zucchini this time. And you mentioned your watering can is, I mean, you absolutely need it because you need to keep
Yeah.
it moist. So let's talk about watering. How often do you water your strawberries?
So when you're conditioning it, I would suggest watering it both evening and in the morning, because straw by nature is dries up quicker,
Yeah.
so it doesn't retain moisture. So that is one of the reasons the box which I showed helps in holding the water, so that the wind and the sun doesn't impact it. So it helps you conserve water. But then by nature, strawberry needs more water, especially conditioning. But later on, once the plants start growing, you can do, I would suggest evening watering, because then it kind of stays longer in the bale.
So during conditioning time, is it enough morning and evening? I'm thinking, you know, all the water will drain and then is it enough? Or maybe we can water even more often?
No, I think 2 times is
Is
good
enough.
for conditioning, because it is held tight, and then the water kind of drips in.
And
So
every day.
yes, every day
Every
for
day.
14 days.
Yeah. And when it is when we have plants inside, then we don't have to water every day, or maybe then also we it depends on
Then also
how
you have to
hot it
water
is.
at least once a day, either in
Once
the
a day.
evening or in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah. So after that, it is similar to soil because in soil garden
Yes.
also we water once, and I do that in the evening as well, so that it doesn't evaporate right away. Yeah.
Exactly. And the difference is when you use potting soil,
Mhm.
sometimes it is mixed with organic material which retains water longer.
Mhm.
In straw bale, since we don't have a lot of organic material for retention, it requires slightly higher level of watering.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so in the beginning, your strawberries might be really big, high, and then you have
Yes.
thin layer of soil maybe. But after
Yes.
a couple of years, it has subsided and become a little less high. So you can
Yes.
add a lot of soil on top of it and keep gardening into it. That's what
Yes,
I
you
heard.
could either add soil, or, as I mentioned, vegetable peels, eggshells,
Yeah,
things
after
which
that,
are
yeah.
organic matter. But then what you could also do, and this year I'm planning to do that, is bring in new bales and
Mhm.
stack it on top. So then, as the bottom layer subsides,
Okay.
the top layer
Mhm.
can take on. And that is possible only if you're using boxes. But if you're just using the bale as such, you have to use it for a season and then put it as mulch, because it will not last much longer without having a
Mhm.
structure around it.
Okay, so on top of old straw bale, you can add another new straw bale, not
Yes,
necessarily soil. Right.
exactly.
And I was going to ask you, what do you do with the old bales? And you already answered that question. I mean, everything is contained in there, and you keep using it.
Exactly. So the picture which I showed you, I've been using this for since 2025. So it's almost 6 years. I've been
2025.
replenishing some soil, as you
Yeah,
mentioned, but not much.
yeah, yeah. So I have couple of bales, and I'm excited to start gardening in them. But for the audience, where can anyone get these bales from? here in
Yeah, that's
Edmonton?
that's a good question. So around this time, like in early spring, City of Edmonton uh, gives out bales for free, usually around Tobogling Hills.
Mhm.
So you could get it from the um, near the John Jansen Nature Center. There is a composting school which is there, but also around River Valley there are Tobogling Hills where you get straw bale for free. You just have to go. I think city gives like maybe two or three at a time, but you
Yeah,
can go and collect it.
yeah,
Otherwise, if you don't go there, you can also get it from various green houses where they can you can buy it from them.
yeah. Usually it's $10 to $12 that is city is giving you for free. Why not?
Exactly.
And I think they put that location on their website, edmonton.ca/compost.
Yes.
Yeah, or if we sign up for the Keep Composting newsletter, then we can just get those notification when they are adding this new information.
Exactly. I got it from my from mine from the city, and it
Yeah,
has been really good.
yeah. Why to waste money if you are getting it for free?
Exactly. And you're also advancing the cause of reuse and
Yes.
recycle, right? Because
Yes.
city usually uses these straw bales as protection on the Tobogling Hills.
Mhm.
So once the season is done, once the snow is done, the city has to throw it away if you don't use it. So it is a recycling process where we can take it
Yeah.
and then use it for
Yeah, and if we are
the
getting it, it's a win-win situation for city. I mean, they really promote that we use it, and we are getting it. Like we are exploring a new method of gardening. I mean, it is exciting.
exactly. And we are
Okay.
contributing to the cause of reusing the
Yes.
things.
Okay. So now the most exciting question: what all do you grow in your garden, and what can anyone grow in their garden?
Okay, maybe I should answer it with some pictures.
Mhm.
So I will share the pictures here. So as I said, I grew cabbage. I have grown potatoes. So the only thing is potatoes don't grow too large because the limitations of space. I've grown some carrots. They don't come big either, but it is worth trying. But what I've had successes over the years is sprout, which you can see here. I have been doing that every year.
Mhm.
Then I've grown pumpkin, the small pumpkins, zucchini, and yeah, so I've kind of tried most of it. I don't have pictures of tomatoes in here, but
Mhm.
then tomatoes come out really well. One year I grew sunflower, which comes out well. But I wouldn't suggest doing sunflower in bales because it requires quite a lot of space. But most importantly, things which has worked for me is zucchini, pepper, and tomatoes. They grow really well.
Yeah, anything that grows on top of the ground is easy to grow, but you are also growing the root vegetables. That's interesting.
Yes, that was an experiment which I did, but yeah. So I would suggest anything which grows up is a better option. And then if you want to make it more colorful, you can add some flowers and
Yes.
things like that just to make it a bit more exciting.
Yes. So yeah, marigold really goes well with tomatoes. So we can do that, red and yellow kind of thing.
Exactly. Or wildflowers, you can put wildflowers in it. It gives it a colorful
So
experience.
because you mentioned it's hard to do seeds in these straw bales and generally peas. I just seed them outside. So maybe I will have to do the transplant for that as well if I want to grow peas in the straw bales.
That's actually an interesting question. I haven't tried peas,
Mhm.
but there's nothing which prevents you
Yeah.
from growing. And maybe what you could also try is if you put the peas into those small containers or
Okay.
the small seed starters and put the seed starter directly into the bale, maybe that
Yeah.
would be a good idea to test
It
out.
might
I'll
work.
try it
Yeah.
this summer and see how it goes.
Yeah, so yeah, that's great. That's great to know. So you are growing a number of vegetables. You have shown a lot of things. How many bales you have at this time? I mean, you have been using?
So I have four sets of boxes like this. So four boxes, and each box would be one, two. So I stacked, when I started this, I stacked four bales. So
Mhm.
two at the bottom, two at the top. So then it gave me eight bales and then four of these boxes. So that's how I've been kind of using. So usually what I do is one box for one kind of vegetable.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, that's really interesting, and that has been eye-opening for me. Uh, uh, Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. Any parting shot or any final message you want to give to our audience?
So I just took this picture today to show how it looks like in spring or after the snow is done. So as you can see here, the layer of bale is decreasing. So I need to add more in the spring. The other thing I would also suggest is these step process, just to know how to do straw bale gardening. So first select your bales. So there's a difference between straw and hay. Hay is for animals, straw is like what we use. Second is the conditioning step, which again, as I mentioned, bone meal or nitrogen plus water creates composting, and then it creates soil. And once that is done, you plant it, let it grow, and then harvest it. So, and these are some of the crops which we test upon. Broccoli is new. I've done cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, and yeah, tomatoes are missing from here, but I would also suggest tomatoes and pepper is also good. And yeah, most importantly, I think as a master composter recycler, I have tried composting. I have a backyard composter. I have tried vermicomposting, and yeah, this has worked for me. And this is natural composting, where once you set it, it is automatically, it is self-running composting process.
Wow, yeah, thank you so much. This would be first time for me, and I am feeling so equipped right now with all the knowledge for the straw bales. And right after this talk, I'm going to go outside and put some bone meal on my straw bales, because there is snow, there is moisture. Friends, you must be feeling knowledgeable as well about straw bales now. And if you still have more questions, please feel free to put in the comment box. We will answer all your questions. We will come back with another topic on waste talk. And till then, take care of yourself, take care of your surroundings. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks.